there's a reality we all as a society, we are shying away from, most especially the feminine gender. And what's that reality? If you discover carefully, you notice if you're careful with your observation, you notice that the majority, if not all, of the so-called men that are called abusive in marriage, relationship, or whatever today, you discover that as soon as their existing relationship, maybe it crashes or the existing marriage actually crashes, in no distance time, another woman is already there with them. So, all over the place. I don't want to mention names in this video because I don't want to point fingers directly. However, just take note of, do your own careful observation. Look at your society and maybe even look at your surrounding environment. Where are those men that have been labeled, abusive by women, and such women walked away? Just look at them. How long it took that another woman is already jumping in with that particular man. So we begin to look, is it that these men are actually the problem? Or it is the women, on the other hand, that is the problem? Because if we unanimously agree that this road is a bad lane and no one should follow it, and everyone pulls out of that particular lane and focuses on another lane, I don't believe that accidents that will be associated with that particular lane that was abandoned, we avoided that particular lane because there are some issues, problems that are associated with that particular lane. Hence the reason we avoided that particular lane. But if by peradventure of the fact that we neglected that particular lane and we moved to a better lane, therefore means that the kind of fatal or terrible accidents that are associated with this particular lane that is not good has a lower chances, or do not even stand a chance happening on this lane that is good. You understand? So it just goes ahead to tell you that it seems something is truly wrong with the other gender. They just want to paint a narrative. You understand? Because if you say that this particular man is good, and when you're walking out, or even before you walked out, you're calling for, you mobilize your people who are your folk and say justice for X, Y, Z, justice for this, justice for that, and all kind of so-called women liberation, that you want to liberate your gender. I think you should also be preach enough that no man should be able, no woman should go in to be with an abusive man. You understand? And if a woman has gone into being with an abusive man, you should be able to sound a warning to him. Your so-called women liberation movement or women liberation clamoring, whatever name you call yourself, should be able to sound a warning to her that, listen, such a man that you've gone to meet, if anything goes wrong, we're not going to come and, stand by you and, root for you if you are in any kind of challenge. But you discover that it's not even happening. You discover that as one is shouting that, I need justice, you discover that another one is already on standby, waiting for the one that is crying for justice. In fact, among those who are joining to cry for justice for her, it is from among there that, the one that is going to replace her is rightfully seated, or rightly seated rather. At the end, it now makes the whole thing looks as if it's just a mere... It makes the whole thing looks like as if it's just a mere charade of events. You understand? So the truth of the matter is that, in my own opinion, I believe that, men are not truly the problem. Yes, on the issue of abusive relationship, it is women who are who are the problem when it comes to abusive relationship. Because there's a particular saying that there's no smoke without fire. So that's one. Then two, for everything that happens, nothing just happens out of the vacuum all of a sudden. There will always be signs, there will always be triggers, there will always be indicators that, this thing is about to happen. For instance, when you wake up during the dry season, or during when it will be a sunny day, when you look at the east, you see it looks I don't know what's the color of the sun. The color of the sun is almost like okay, let's just say it looks orange, like orange in nature, in terms of coloration. It looks down the east, it looks like the rising of an orange coloration, which is the sun. Now, when you see that when it will be a sunny day, it gives an indication that today will be a sunny day. It's a sign already, so you know what to expect for the whole day. The same thing when you wake up and you see the clouds heavy, always dark. All the clouds are heavy. It's covering all of the parchment of the sky, whereby the sun is supposed to show forth its light. It's a clear sign that it will be a rainy day. Either it will rain heavily or it might not rain heavily. So that's a sign. So all of these things don't just happen out of the blue all of a sudden. But it is women who are continually condoning this kind of behavior, or who are condoning this kind of things. Some are even the ones who push the men to the wall. You discover that at the end, all of a sudden, then the man becomes an abusive man, becomes a violent man, and all kind of names are given to such a man. Which, in my own opinion, I do not totally accept. I do not totally succumb. But I keep saying, every time a woman come out to say her man is abusive, not until I hear from the side of the man, I do not, I don't jump into conclusion. I'm sorry, but that is from what I've seen and what I've heard. When I'm telling you seen and heard, I'm not saying seen in the news or heard in the news. I'm talking about practical people that I can point to. This point, even call their names. I know where they originate from. I know their families. You discover that by the time you hear from the man, the story is entirely different from what this woman actually narrated. So abusive men, majority of the time, they are not really abusive. It's just the women just wanting to create a narrative just to make the man look like a demon, or look like a Satan in the eyes of the public. So this is the DEFISIL podcast. If you want to like this video and subscribe to this channel, as usual, peace.